First contact. The message came on an ordinary Tuesday. At first, Dr. Elena Reyes thought it was a glitch in the radio telescope's systems. The young astrophysicist had been pulling a late night at the Arecibo Observatory, sifting through the usual cosmic static, when an unmistakably artificial signal cut through the noise. Her heart raced as she adjusted her headphones, hardly daring to believe what she was hearing. A voice. Alien, yet eerily human. Female. "People of Earth," it began, the words halting and accented but clear. "We are the Zani. Our civilization faces extinction. We plead for your help." Elena's fingers flew across her keyboard, recording and analyzing the transmission. This was it, the moment scientists had dreamed of for centuries. First contact, but nothing could have prepared her for what came next. "Our males are gone," the voice continued, a note of desperation creeping in. "We cannot reproduce. Without aid, we will vanish. We beg you, send human males to save our species." For a moment, Elena sat frozen, her mind reeling. Then training kicked in. She initiated emergency protocols, alerting her superiors and government officials. Within hours, the news had spread across the globe. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and their cosmic neighbors needed help. In the days that followed, the world erupted into chaos and debate. Religious leaders proclaimed it a hoax or a divine test. Scientists clamored for more data. Politicians bickered over how to respond. And across the planet, millions of men volunteered to journey to the stars. At the United Nations, heated arguments raged. "We cannot ignore this plea," insisted Dr. Akira Tanaka, Japan's chief xenobiologist. "It is our moral duty to prevent the extinction of an intelligent species." "And risk the lives of our own people," countered General Helena Vasquez of Brazil. "We know nothing about these aliens or the dangers they might pose. This could be a trap." As the debates dragged on, a small team worked tirelessly to establish stable two-way communication with the Zani. Dr. Elena Reyes found herself at the center of it all, her expertise in decoding alien signals proving invaluable. "We've managed to piece together more of their history," Elena reported to the UN Security Council a week after first contact. The Zane claim to be an advanced civilization that has explored much of their local star cluster. But about 50 years ago, all their males suddenly vanished without explanation. They've been searching for a solution ever since, but their population is aging. They estimate total extinction within a generation if they can't find a way to reproduce. The council members exchanged troubled glances. The implications were staggering. An entire gender, wiped out in an instant, it seemed impossible. Yet the desperation in the alien transmissions was undeniable. "Have they provided any explanation for what happened to their males?" asked the British representative. Elena shook her head. "They say it's a mystery. One day, the males were simply gone. No bodies, no signs of struggle or disease. They've explored every possibility they can think of, from biological weapons to interdimensional rifts. Nothing conclusive." As days turned to weeks, public opinion began to shift. The initial fear and skepticism gave way to a growing sense of cosmic duty. Vigils and rallies sprang up across the globe, with millions calling for immediate aid to the Zani. In laboratories and think tanks, scientists worked feverishly to unravel the biology of the alien species based on the limited data provided. Early results were promising. Despite evolving on a distant world, the Zane shared a remarkably similar genetic structure to humans. Reproduction between the species, while not guaranteed, seemed theoretically possible. Finally, after a month of deliberation, the United Nations reached a decision. Humanity would answer the call. "We cannot stand idly by while an entire civilization faces oblivion," announced Secretary-General Adama Diallo in a historic address. "Today, we take our first steps into the galactic community. We will send aid to the Zani in the form of volunteers and scientific expertise. Together, we will forge a future among the stars." The announcement was met with thunderous applause in the General Assembly and cheering crowds in cities worldwide. But even as humanity celebrated this new era, questions lingered. What had really happened to the Zani males? And what unforeseen challenges awaited the brave volunteers venturing into the cosmic unknown? As the dust settled, the real work began. A coalition of space agencies and private companies threw themselves into the monumental task of preparing an interstellar mission. The Zane had provided coordinates and basic faster-than-light technology specs, but adapting and building such advanced systems would push human engineering to its limits. Dr. Elena Reyes found herself at the heart of the project, working alongside the brilliant and eccentric billionaire inventor Elan Zhang. His company, Starpath Industries, had been secretly developing experimental FTL propulsion for years. Now, that research would be put to the ultimate test. "We're compressing decades of R&D into months," Elon explained as he led Elena through the cavernous facility where their ship was taking shape. "It's insane, it's probably impossible, but we have to try." The vessel they were building was christened the HS Hope, humanity's salvation ship. It would carry a crew of 50 scientists, doctors, engineers, and a carefully selected group of male volunteers. Their mission: travel to the Zane homeworld, attempt cross-species reproduction, and hopefully save an alien civilization from extinction. As the launch date approached, Elena worked tirelessly, coordinating between the alien linguists, xenobiologists, and engineers. The weight of the mission pressed down on all of them. The fate of 2 species might well rest on their success. The night before launch, Elena stood on the observation deck, gazing up at the star-filled sky. Somewhere out there, the Zane were waiting, their hopes pinned on human ingenuity and compassion. "Quite a view, isn't it?" came a voice behind her. Elena turned to see Captain Miguel Alvarez, the decorated astronaut chosen to lead the mission. His weathered face bore a thoughtful expression. "It's overwhelming," Elena admitted. "All my life, I've dreamed of discovering alien life, but I never imagined it would be like this." Miguel nodded. "It's a hell of a responsibility. But if we succeed, we'll be opening up a whole new chapter of human history." As they stood there, contemplating the vastness of space and the journey ahead, Elena felt a mix of terror and exhilaration. Tomorrow, they would venture into the unknown, carrying the hopes of 2 worlds with them. The HS Hope stood gleaming on the launch pad, a monument to human determination and ingenuity. As dawn broke, crowds gathered to witness the historic moment. The air buzzed with nervous energy and cautious optimism. Elena took her place in mission control, heart pounding as she listened to the final countdown. This was it, the moment that would change everything. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With a deafening roar, the Hope lifted off, climbing into the sky on a pillar of flame. Elena watched through tears as the ship grew smaller and smaller, finally vanishing from sight. Their journey had begun. Now, all they could do was wait, hope, and pray that this leap into the cosmic unknown would lead not to disaster, but to a new dawn for both humanity and their newfound alien allies. As the HS Hope disappeared from view, Elena felt a mix of pride, fear, and anticipation. The first chapter of this incredible journey was over, but the real adventure, and the true test of humanity's resolve, was just beginning. Cosmic Odyssey, humanity's leap into the unknown. As the HSS Hope hurtled through the cosmos, Earth held its breath. The fate of 2 civilizations rested on the shoulders of 50 brave souls venturing into the great unknown. Captain Miguel Alvarez stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the swirling vortex of faster-than-light travel outside the viewports. "Status report," he commanded, his voice steady despite the weight of responsibility. Dr. Zara Chen, the ship's chief scientist, looked up from her holographic display. "FTL drive stable, Captain. We're maintaining course to the Zane homeworld. Estimated arrival in 3 Earth months." Miguel nodded, allowing himself a small smile. So far, so good. But he knew better than to get complacent. Space had a way of throwing curveballs when you least expected them. Little did they know, the universe was about to test their mettle in ways they could never have imagined. 2 weeks into the journey, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red emergency lights bathed the corridors in an eerie glow as crew members rushed to their stations. "What's happening?" Miguel demanded as he burst onto the bridge. Zara's fingers danced across her console, her face pale. "We've encountered some kind of anomaly. It's unlike anything in our databases." On the main view screen, a massive, shimmering distortion writhed in space. It looked like a tear in the very fabric of reality, pulsing with otherworldly energies. "Can we go around it?" Miguel asked, his mind racing through options. The ship's navigator, Lieutenant Raj Patel, shook his head. "Negative, sir. It's expanding too rapidly. At this rate, it'll engulf us in minutes." Miguel's jaw clenched. They had come too far to fail now. "All right, people. Let's show the universe what humanity is made of. Prepare for emergency maneuvers." What followed was a harrowing dance through the cosmic maelstrom. The Hope bucked and shuddered as Miguel and his crew pushed the ship to its limits, weaving through tendrils of space-time that threatened to tear them apart. Just when it seemed they might break free, a massive surge of energy slammed into the ship. Sparks flew from consoles as systems overloaded. The last thing Miguel saw before losing consciousness was a blinding flash of light. He awoke to the gentle hum of the ship's engines and the concerned face of Dr. Elena Reyes hovering over him. "Welcome back, Captain," she said, relief evident in her voice. "You had us worried for a while there." Miguel sat up slowly, wincing at the pounding in his head. The ship, the crew. "We made it through," Elena assured him. "But things are a bit complicated." As Miguel regained his feet, he realized something was very, very wrong. The bridge looked subtly different, eerily familiar, yet not quite right. "That anomaly," Zara explained, her voice tight with barely contained excitement and fear. "It wasn't just a spatial phenomenon. We think it threw us into a parallel universe." Miguel's mind reeled at the implications. "Are you certain?" Zara nodded grimly. "The stars are all wrong. And we've been picking up transmissions from Earth, but not our Earth." The crew gathered around the main view screen as Zara pulled up the intercepted broadcasts. They watched in stunned silence as familiar faces spoke of events that had never happened in their world, wars that had never been fought, technological marvels they had never achieved. "My God," breathed Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's xenobiologist. "Do you realize what this means? Multiverse theory, it's real." Miguel's tactical mind was already racing ahead. But if we're in a parallel universe, what about the Zarni? Do they even exist here? The question hung heavy in the air. Their mission, already fraught with challenges, had just become infinitely more complex. As the crew grappled with their new reality, a new transmission cut through the chaos. A message that would change everything once again. "Attention, unknown vessel," a stern voice crackled through the speakers. "This is the Galactic Confederation. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourselves immediately or face destruction." Miguel exchanged alarmed glances with his officers. Galactic Confederation. Their Earth had never encountered such an organization. "This is Captain Miguel Alvarez of the HS Hope," he responded, fighting to keep his voice calm. "We are on a peaceful mission and seem to have lost our way. Request permission to explain our situation." There was a long, tense pause before the reply came. "Permission granted, HS Hope. Prepare to be boarded. Any signs of hostility will be met with lethal force." As the crew scrambled to prepare for their unexpected guests, Miguel couldn't shake the feeling that they had stumbled into something far bigger than their original mission. The fate of the Zarni, their own Earth, and perhaps the entire multiverse now hung in the balance. A sleek, silver ship emerged from the depths of space, dwarfing the Hope in both size and apparent technological sophistication. As it drew near, Miguel and his senior staff gathered in the airlock, hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. With a hiss of equalizing pressure, the airlock opened to reveal their visitors. Miguel's jaw dropped. Standing before them were beings that looked almost human, yet undeniably alien. Tall, lithe figures with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of ages. "I am Sarl, emissary of the Galactic Confederation," the leader announced, her voice melodious yet commanding. "You claim to be lost. Explain yourselves." And so Miguel and his team recounted their incredible journey. The Zani's plea for help, the faster-than-light voyage, the cosmic anomaly that had hurled them into this parallel reality. As they spoke, Sarl's expression shifted from suspicion to fascination. Interdimensional travelers, she mused when they had finished. We had theorized such things were possible, but to encounter it firsthand, she paused, seeming to come to a decision. "Your arrival may be more than mere chance. Come, there is much we must discuss." Aboard the Confederation ship, Miguel and his team were shown wonders beyond their wildest dreams. Holographic displays revealed a galaxy teeming with intelligent life, countless species living in harmony under the Confederation's guidance. But beneath the utopian surface, Miguel sensed an undercurrent of tension. Sarlo confirmed his suspicions. "Your story of the Zana's plight resonates deeply," she explained, "for we face a similar crisis. A shadow looms over our galaxy, an ancient force awakening from eons of slumber. It feeds on the very essence of sentient beings, stripping away what makes us unique." The pieces began to fall into place. The Zana's missing males. Elena gasped. Could it be connected? Sarl nodded gravely. "We believe so. This entity has been striking civilizations across multiple realities, always targeting a specific segment of the population. In your universe, it was the Zani males. In ours, it's our children." The revelation hit like a physical blow. Miguel's mind raced with the implications. So by coming here, we might have stumbled upon the key to saving both our worlds. Perhaps, Sarl agreed, but the road ahead is perilous. The entity grows stronger with each feeding. If we are to stop it, we must act soon. As Miguel absorbed this information, alarms blared throughout the Confederation ship. Sarla's eyes widened in fear. "It's here," she whispered. Through the viewscreen, they watched in horror as a writhing mass of darkness materialized in space. Tendrils of void reached out, hungrily grasping at nearby planets. Miguel squared his shoulders, determination blazing in his eyes. Humanity had come too far to falter now. "Tell us what we need to do," he said firmly. "Whatever it takes, we'll face this threat together." Sarl nodded, a glimmer of hope shining in her alien eyes. "Then let us make our stand, for the future of all realities." As the cosmic horror bore down upon them, humans and aliens stood united, ready to fight for the survival of life itself across the multiverse. The true battle was about to begin, and its outcome would echo across dimensions. Multiversal mayhem, humanity's quantum leap. The darkness swirled menacingly, tendrils of void reaching out like hungry fingers towards the Confederation ship and the HSS Hope. Captain Miguel Alvarez stood shoulder to shoulder with Sarl, their unlikely alliance forged in the crucible of cosmic peril. "We call it the Nullifier," Sarl explained, her voice tight with urgency. "It consumes the very essence of sentient life, erasing entire populations from existence." Dr. Elena Reyes, her mind racing, pieced together the horrifying puzzle. That's what happened to the Zani males in our universe. They weren't just killed, they were erased from reality itself. As the crew watched in mounting terror, the Nullifier's attack began. Beams of anti-light lanced out, striking nearby planets. Where they touched, matter simply ceased to be, leaving perfect spherical voids in the cosmic tapestry. "How do we fight something that unmakes reality?" Miguel demanded, his tactical mind grasping for solutions. Zarl's multifaceted eyes gleamed with determination. "With the very fabric of reality itself, your arrival was no accident, humans. The multiverse brought you here for a reason." She led them deeper into the Confederation ship, to a chamber that defied description. At its center pulsed a swirling orb of pure energy, threads of possibility dancing within its depths. The Nexus, Sal breathed reverently. A confluence of all realities. With it, we can channel the power of infinite universes, but we lack the spark, the chaos factor needed to ignite its true potential. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the xenobiologist, stepped forward, her eyes wide with realization. That's where we come in, humans. We're the wildcards of the cosmos. Miguel nodded grimly. Our unpredictability, our ability to defy the odds, it's not just a saying, it's our superpower. As if in response to their epiphany, the Nexus pulsed brighter, tendrils of energy reaching out towards the human crew. Miguel felt a tingling sensation, as if every atom of his being was singing in harmony with the multiverse. "What do we do?" he asked, voice filled with both fear and exhilaration. Zarl's answer was simple yet monumental. Embrace chaos. Let your minds expand beyond the boundaries of a single reality. Become one with the infinite possibilities of existence. And so, in that moment of cosmic crisis, humanity took its greatest leap. Miguel, Elena, and the crew of the HS Hope opened their minds to the multiverse. Images flooded their consciousness, infinite versions of themselves, paths not taken, realities where history unfolded in wildly different ways. The Nexus responded, its power surging. Beams of prismatic energy lanced out from the Confederation ship, meeting the nullifier's void tendrils in a spectacular collision of creation and destruction. But even as they fought back, Miguel realized with growing dread that it wasn't enough. The nullifier was too vast, too ancient, its hunger insatiable. They needed something more. In that moment of desperation, Elena had a flash of inspiration. "The Zarni," she cried out. "They're connected to this too. We need to bridge the gap between universes." Acting on instinct, Elena focused her thoughts on the Zarni homeworld, on the desperate message that had started their journey. Impossibly, miraculously, she felt a response, a faint echo from across the dimensional divide. "They hear us," Elena shouted. "Everyone, focus on the Zarni. Their universe, their people, we need to draw them in." The human crew concentrated, their minds stretching across realities. And then, with a reality-shaking thunderclap, a shimmering portal burst into existence. Through it stumbled a group of aliens, unmistakably the Zarni they had set out to save. "Impossible," breathed Sarl, all evident in her voice. The leader of the Zarni, a regal figure named Zara, stepped forward. "We heard your call across the void. We come to stand with you against the darkness." With the addition of the Zarni's unique energy signature, the Nexus's power redoubled. The prismatic beams intensified, pushing back against the encroaching void. The nullifier writhed, its form fluctuating as it faced resistance unlike anything it had encountered in eons of existence. But the entity was far from defeated. With a roar that shook the fabric of space-time, it launched a final devastating assault. Reality itself began to fray around them, the boundaries between universes growing thin. "It's tearing apart the multiverse," Zal cried out in alarm. "If we don't stop it now, all of existence will unravel." In that moment of utmost crisis, Miguel made a decision that would echo across infinite realities. "Then we give it everything we've got, every possible version of ourselves, every choice we've ever made or could make. We throw it all at this thing." He turned to his crew, to the Zarni, to Tsa'el and the Confederation. "Focus everything you are, everything you could be, into the Nexus. We end this now." And so, in a moment of cosmic synchronicity, beings from 3 universes united. Humans, Zarni, and the myriad species of the Confederation poured their very essence into the Nexus. The orb of energy grew, expanding until it filled the chamber, the ship, the very fabric of space around them. Miguel felt his consciousness expand beyond anything he had ever imagined. He was every version of himself across infinite realities, the captain, the painter, the father, the explorer. Each choice, each possibility, became a weapon against the encroaching void. With a flash that outshone suns and a sound that echoed across dimensions, the combined might of 3 universes struck the nullifier. The entity howled, its form twisting and fragmenting as it was bombarded with the infinite potential of life itself. And then, in a final burst of light and possibility, the nullifier shattered. Shards of void scattered across the cosmos, harmless and inert. As the light faded and reality reasserted itself, Miguel found himself back on the bridge of the HS Hope. Around him, his crew stirred, looking dazed but triumphant. Through the viewscreen, he saw the Confederation ship and the newly arrived Zarnay vessel. Did we do it? Elena asked, her voice filled with wonder. Miguel nodded, a smile spreading across his face. We did. We saved everything. As the 3 ships hung there in the void, representatives of 3 universes united by an impossible quest, Miguel realized that their journey was far from over. They had touched the infinite, seen the true scope of existence, and in doing so, they had forged a connection that transcended mere space and time. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning. Quantum entanglement, forging a multiversal alliance. In the aftermath of their cosmic victory, the crew of the HSS Hope found themselves at the center of an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from 3 universes converged aboard a vast Confederation space station, its crystalline structure shimmering with otherworldly energies. Captain Miguel Alvarez stood before a diverse assembly of beings, his heart racing with a mixture of awe and responsibility. Beside him were Sarl of the Confederation, Zora of the Zarni, and his own crew, living proof that the boundaries between realities were more permeable than anyone had ever imagined. We stand at a crossroads of infinite possibilities, Miguel began, his voice carrying across the chamber. The threat of the nullifier may be gone, but its echoes remain. We've glimpsed the true nature of our multiverse, interconnected, vulnerable, and filled with wonders beyond imagining. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing the aftermath of their battle, tears in the fabric of spacetime, anomalies that defied the laws of physics as any single universe understood them. Dr. Elena Reyes stepped forward, her eyes bright with the fire of scientific discovery. The Nexus has changed us all. Our minds have been expanded, our understanding of reality fundamentally altered. We're no longer bound by the limits of our own universes. She gestured to a swirling vortex of data. We're detecting quantum entanglement on a cosmic scale. Every decision, every possibility, ripples across the multiverse. We're all connected in ways we're only beginning to comprehend. The implications were staggering. The assembled beings looked at each other with new eyes, seeing not just aliens from distant worlds, but alternate versions of themselves, paths not taken, civilizations that had evolved along radically different lines. Zora of the Zarne stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. In our universe, we faced extinction. Our males were erased, our future seemingly lost. But now we understand, it was not an isolated tragedy, but part of a greater cosmic tapestry. She turned to the humans, her eyes filled with gratitude and wonder. You came to our aid, bridging the gap between realities. In doing so, you've given us more than just the hope of survival. You've shown us the infinite potential of existence itself. Sarl nodded solemnly. The Confederation has long sought to maintain balance in our galaxy, but now we see that our responsibility extends far beyond a single universe. We must forge a new path, a multiversal alliance to safeguard all of existence. The chamber erupted in excited discussion. The idea was revolutionary, almost unthinkable, and yet, in the wake of their shared ordeal, it felt inevitable. Miguel felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. They stood on the brink of something monumental, a union that transcended not just planetary boundaries, but the very walls between realities. But how do we even begin, he asked, voicing the question on everyone's minds. The logistics of coordinating across universes, the potential paradoxes, the sheer scope of it all. It was Dr. Yuki Tanaka who provided the spark of inspiration. The xenobiologist had been quietly studying the data from the Nexus, her mind racing with possibilities. "We use the Nexus itself," she declared, her voice filled with excitement. "It's not just a weapon or a power source. It's a bridge between all realities. With the right modifications, we could create a network of Nexus points across the multiverse. Instant communication and travel between universes." The idea sent shockwaves through the assembly. The implications were staggering: an infinite exchange of knowledge, culture, and resources. The combined potential of countless civilizations working together to explore the greatest frontier of all, the multiverse itself. But with such power came grave responsibility. Miguel could see the concern etched on faces both human and alien. "We would need safeguards," he said firmly. "Protocols to prevent abuse, to protect the integrity of each universe. This isn't just about exploration or scientific advancement. We're talking about the very foundations of existence." Xarel nodded in agreement. The Confederation has long experience in mediating between diverse species. We could adapt our protocols to encompass multiversal concerns. Zora's eyes gleamed with possibility. "And the Zarne? We face the brink of extinction. We understand the preciousness of each unique timeline, each variant of a civilization. We could help ensure that no universe, no matter how seemingly insignificant, is neglected or exploited." As the discussion continued, plans began to take shape. Teams were formed, drawing on the expertise of all three universes. Scientists, diplomats, philosophers, and soldiers all would have a role to play in this new multiversal order. Miguel found himself at the heart of it all, his tactical mind perfectly suited to grappling with the mind-bending complexities of multiversal logistics. He worked closely with Xarel and Zara, forging a bond that transcended the boundaries of their respective realities. Months passed in a whirlwind of activity. The first inter-universal embassies were established. The Nexus network began to take shape, connecting key points across multiple timelines. Knowledge flowed freely, leading to breakthroughs that would have taken centuries in isolation. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Cultural clashes were inevitable when dealing with infinite diversity. Paradoxes had to be carefully managed to prevent temporal disasters. And always, there was the lurking fear that somewhere in the vast multiverse, other threats like the nullifier might be stirring. Through it all, the crew of the HS Hope stood as a symbol of what was possible when beings from different realities came together. Their original mission, to save the Zarne from extinction, had blossomed into something far greater. They had become the founders of a new cosmic order, the pioneers of multiversal exploration. As Miguel stood on the observation deck of the newly christened Multiversal Hub, watching ships from a dozen different realities dock and depart, he felt a sense of pride and wonder unlike anything he had ever experienced. "Quite a view, isn't it?" came a familiar voice. Elena joined him at the window, her eyes reflecting the swirling energies of the Nexus portal before them. Miguel nodded, a smile tugging at his lips. "We came looking to save one civilization. Instead, we may have just changed the course of all reality." Elena laughed softly. Just another day at the Office for Humanity, right? Defying the impossible, rewriting the laws of the universe. As they stood there, watching the birth of a new era, Miguel couldn't help but feel that their greatest adventures still lay ahead. The multiverse was vast beyond imagining, filled with wonders and terrors yet undreamed of. And humanity, along with their new allies, would be at the forefront of it all, explorers, peacekeepers, and guardians of the infinite tapestry of existence itself. The multiversal age had begun, and the universe, all universes, would never be the same again. Echoes of infinity, the multiversal revolution. The multiversal hub, pulsed with energy, a nexus point where countless realities converged. Captain Miguel Alvarez stood at the heart of the Quantum Control Center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the intricate web of connections spanning the multiverse. It had been 5 years since the formation of the Multiversal Alliance, and the scope of their achievements still took his breath away. Incoming transmission from Universe Delta 7, announced Lieutenant Raj Patel, his fingers dancing across the quantum interface. They're reporting unusual temporal fluctuations in their galactic core. Miguel frowned. Anomalies like this had become increasingly common as the boundaries between realities grew more permeable. Put them through. A shimmering hologram materialized, revealing a being that looked like a cross between a jellyfish and a supercomputer. Greetings, Hub Prime. It pulsed in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. Our chronosensors have detected a growing instability. We fear a potential collapse of our timeline. Understood, Delta 7, Miguel replied, his mind already racing through potential solutions. We're dispatching a quantum stabilization team immediately. As the transmission ended, Dr. Elena Reyes burst into the control center, her eyes wide with excitement. Miguel, you need to see this. She pulled up a new holographic display, showing a swirling vortex of energy at the fringes of known reality. We've detected a new universe forming, but it's like nothing we've ever seen before. The laws of physics they're completely alien. Miguel studied the readings, his heart racing. This was why he had joined the Multiversal Exploration Corps, the thrill of discovering entire new realities, each with its own set of rules and possibilities. Assemble a first contact team, he ordered, but approach with caution. We don't know how our presence might affect an infant universe. As the hub buzzed with activity, preparing for both crisis management and groundbreaking exploration, a new alert blared through the command center. Unauthorized quantum breach detected, Raj shouted, his hands flying over the controls. Something's coming through. The air in the center of the room shimmered and tore open. Out of the rift stumbled a figure that made everyone freeze in shock. It was Miguel Alvarez, but not the one standing at the command console. This Miguel was older, battle-worn, his eyes haunted by horrors unimaginable. Listen to me, the other Miguel gasped, his voice rag. You have to shut it all down. The Nexus, the quantum network, all of it. It's not what we thought. The multiverse, it's alive. Before anyone could react, alarms blared throughout the hub. On every screen, in every reality they were connected to, chaos erupted. Rifts tore open in the skies of 1,000 worlds. Strange, crystalline structures began to grow out of thin air, reshaping matter and energy around them. What's happening? Elena demanded, her scientific mind struggling to process the impossible data flooding in. The older Miguel's eyes were wild with fear and determination. We thought we were exploring the multiverse, but we were wrong. We're not the explorers. We're the infection. Our quantum network, it's like a nervous system. And now we've woken something up. Something old. Something that spans all of reality. As if in response to his words, a vast alien consciousness pressed against their minds. It was ancient beyond measure, curious, and utterly inhuman. The very fabric of reality rippled around them as it stirred. The nullifier, the younger Miguel breathed, pieces falling into place. It wasn't a threat. It was an immune response. The multiverse was trying to isolate the infection, us. The older Miguel nodded grimly. And now that we've spread across so many realities, it's taking more drastic measures. Outside the hub, they watched in awe and terror as entire universes began to shift and merge. The laws of physics were being rewritten on a cosmic scale. In some realities, time began to flow backwards. In others, cause and effect became meaningless concepts. How do we stop it? Elena asked, her voice barely a whisper. The older Miguel's expression was one of grim determination. We can't stop it, but we can guide it. The Nexus. It's not just a tool. It's a direct link to the consciousness of the multiverse. If we can use it to communicate, to show this entity that we're not a threat. Understanding dawned on the younger Miguel's face. We need to merge with it. become one with the multiverse itself. Nods of agreement rippled through the command center. The stakes could not be higher. The continued existence of not just their universe, but all universes hung in the balance. But the risks, Elena protested. We could lose everything that makes us human. Our individuality, our free will. The older Miguel's eyes softened. Or we could gain everything. Understanding beyond our wildest dreams. The power to shape reality itself. As the hug shuddered around them, realities colliding and merging in a kaleidoscope of cosmic restructuring, the crew of the original SS Hope gathered one last time. Miguel looked at each of them, Elena, Raj, Yuki, and all the others who had been with him since the beginning of his impossible journey. Whatever happens, he said softly, it's been an honor. With a shared nod of determination, they stepped into the heart of the Nexus. Energy coursed through them, their consciousness expanding to encompass not just the hub, not just their own universe, but the entire infinite multiverse. They felt the vast alien presence all around them, curious, probing, trying to understand these strange beings that had awakened it. And slowly, carefully, they began to communicate. Images flashed through their collective mind, the history of humanity, the alliance with the Czarny and the Confederation, the wonders they had discovered and the challenges they had overcome. They showed the entity their hopes, their fears, their boundless curiosity and determination. For a moment that seemed to last an eternity, all of reality held its breath. And then slowly the chaos began to subside. The merging universes stabilized, finding a new equilibrium. The crystalline structures that had erupted across realities began to take on new forms, not destructive, but transformative. The entity had understood, and it had made a choice. As the energy of the Nexus faded, Miguel found himself back in the hub command center. But everything had changed. He could feel the pulse of the multiverse all around him, a constant, comforting presence. We did it, Elena breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. We're part of it now, all of us. Miguel nodded, feeling the truth of her words. They were still themselves, still human, but also so much more. They had become guardians and caretakers of the multiverse, merged with its vast consciousness, but retaining their individuality. As reports began to flood in from across realities, a new picture emerged. The multiverse had been fundamentally transformed. Barriers between universes had become permeable, allowing for free travel and communication. The laws of physics had been rewritten, opening up new possibilities for exploration and discovery. And at the heart of it all stood humanity and their allies, no longer mere inhabitants of the multiverse, but an intrinsic part of its very fabric. So, Rage asked, a hint of his old humor returning, what do we do now? Miguel smiled, feeling the infinite possibilities stretching out before them. Now we really start exploring. As the newly reborn multiversal alliance looked out upon the transformed cosmos, they knew that their greatest adventure was just beginning. They had faced the ultimate challenge and emerged not just victorious, but fundamentally changed. The age of singular universes was over. The age of the living multiverse had begun, and humanity, in all its infinite variations, would be at the forefront of this new cosmic renaissance. The journey that had begun with a desperate plea from the Czarny had led them to the very heart of existence itself, and the universe, all universes, would never be the same again.